Way! Hello, everybody. We finally made it. Few guests being a little late. Few technical difficulties in my end, as it were. Same old usual. Need a new computer. Blah blah blah. Hello, then. This is Mr. Brown. Today is Saturday, the 27th of November. Of the year 2021, and I hope you are all very well today. Welcome to the channel, and we were going to be reviewing V for Vendetta today, but as I said, the aforementioned technical difficulties, mainly buffering, ended any chance I had of taking some film stills, but what I did watch, I've never seen V for Vendetta before. What I did watch, though, I thought, oh, right, okay, I may need to pay attention to this. So we will do V for Vendetta. I think just the kind of news headlines on the beginning of the film, I thought, oh my God. Especially with what's going on today in the UK. Here we go, boys and girls. Lockdown on the way. Mandatory face coverings in shops and public transport is back on the agenda. So will it ever end? Will it ever end? I just don't know. So I would say stream killer, moving on, blah blah blah, you know, guys. So okay, shall we just get the guests out, and there'll be a few surprises tonight, kind of an emergency show thrown together at the last moment. So we'll do some happy stuff. So shall we get the guests out? I think we should. First up, she is the Princess of Xanadu, but she's the queen of this channel, all the way from the land of the Texas Landshire, or Doomcock country. Here she is. It's Prince Reni.
Rude. I don't have a penis, just for the record. How are you today, Mr. Brown?
I'm okay. Are you?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Started off my day pretty well. I
was just about to say, and why is that? Lord of the Rings?
Because of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, God.
You know it. I had a good cup of coffee from my favorite coffee shop. Started talking Lord of the Rings, and it put me in a much better mood because I was feeling just bleh today, but you know.
I will say, if I may, Reni, just for the guys in the chat, we will do V for Vendetta next week. I will.
Thank you, because I was so
yes. As I said, I started watching it, and I thought, okay, I think I need to pay attention to this. So we'll do that next week, boys and girls. So I do apologize if you kind of tuned in for that, but we'll do it next week. So everything well in Reni land?
At the moment. Well, you know, stuff changes all the time, and life has been kind of torrential, but you know, it is what it is. And
Oh yes. So
you have to rise above it, move on, and you know, all that. So yeah.
You do. You know what the next question is, don't you?
Shall we get the next guest out?
That's I think we should. Okay, so
do it.
Set your phasers to stunning and brave. One of the biggest Star Wars fans in the business, and all the way from Vulcan, here he is. It's not Brian Young.
Phasers? Vulcan? What kind of professionalism is this with Brown? Disgraced, disgusted. I have a good mind to leave right now. Evening. Evening, Red.
Evening,
Thanks, Brian. Do the Vulcan mind meld on Brown.
Do the Vulcan mind meld on Brown.
Shut up, Brown.
How's Brian? Everything good? Yes.
Just going from one crisis to the next, as it were. But thankfully, the rest of the country appears to be in the same state as myself. So just let's get on with it, and shall we get the next guest out? Let's not mess about here.
We won't. Yeah, fucking COVID shit bollocks up yours, Boris. Okay, so shall we get the next guest out? It's just fucking dog shit all around. So Here we go. Here we go. Just when you don't think it can get any worse. Next. He's the wise elder of the channel, the writer, the portal, the director, paid up member of the Selfridges Appreciation Society. He's the great Mega Geek himself, Ian David Diaz.
Hello, everybody. How we doing?
All right, you're all right,
What
mate.
was that?
I don't know.
I wish I knew how to quit you.
I wish I knew how to quit Christmas. How are you guys doing? All right?
Yeah, I'm doing
We're going to talk about Star Wars, aren't we?
We'll go to a happy place, yeah. Instead of all this bullshit that's going on. So you well, mate? You good?
Yeah, old Boris is giving it the old. We might have to make you wear all masks in places and all that shite. So yeah, it's gonna. Hopefully, he won't stop us from meeting our family at Christmas. Otherwise, I'll go to number 10 myself and shoot him. You know what I mean? So, so hopefully, he won't come to that.
I genuinely think, on a serious note here, if there has been a lot of people die from this, and that's terrible. And luckily, I've not suffered any personal loss with everything that's going on, but there are people who have. All this was to protect those people, and it seemed to me that these people just died anyway. So I just don't know why.
Point?
Yeah.
You're
I just don't know
alone in your own home.
Yeah,
because you can't be.
I just don't know what if this had just gone through the population like it was going to, I think would have been on the other side now, but they're just delaying the inevitable. Anyway, moving on.
Herd immunity.
It's fucking bullshit. Right, okay, shall we get the next guest out? I think we should. Next up, he's the jester from Leicester. Watch out, War and Peace. It's the great man himself. Hello, Swap Shop.
Oh, that was a bit aggressive, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
He's a bit aggressive today, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, I'm
Today.
doing all right. Good to see everybody. Hope everyone's fine and dandy, considering everything that's going on. You know, because everyone's got stuff going on, haven't they, really, at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm busy wearing masks.
Wearing what?
And wearing masks and protecting everybody. So
Oh, I see.
I'm basically a superhero because I wear a mask
Exactly. That's what I thought you meant.
and I protect everybody. Yeah, I'm not saying where I wear them.
Did you know that you're my hero?
Yeah. Oh dear.
Let's just say I'm nice and cozy in the downstairs.
Matthew, I do apologise to your good self because you were going to present V for Vendetta, weren't you?
Yes, but we can always do that another day, so that's fine. Fine by me.
Are you going to be okay for that? Maybe next week, yes.
Remember the 5th of November.
Yeah, I
you
know.
won't do that, when you?
Yeah. Okay. So you're good, Matthew, yes?
Yes, indeed. I think we should probably delve into whoever's sitting backstage. Not literally.
And last up, he has. What is it? I typed this all out, and obviously I didn't read it. Oh God! Here we go. 10 times on the channel.
10 times.
Yes.
More than me.
He's become
Yeah.
X-rated. X-rated. There was a Roman numeral gag in there somewhere, but I didn't type it out right, and I didn't read it, so I'm a knobhead. 10 times on the channel. The Hollywood legend, in his own mind, live from Auntie Kathy's milking parlour, somewhere in Cricklewood, the man baby himself, Ruin Johnson.
Yay!
Hello, normal people. I've decided to take the mask off.
What?
Everyone else is putting the masks on, so yeah, I thought I'll dox myself all over again
What?
before some of these shills try and dox me. Yeah, and I thought it'd just be nice to come on, drop the ruin moniker, and actually just talk nice stuff about Star Wars.
Nice.
Seriously, I'm not gay, but Jesus Christ, you're good looking. Bloody
He
hell.
is. He's a good-looking
much
boy,
better
everybody.
than Ryan Johnson for sure.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
If only my head was as round.
So, are you well, Anthony? Yes.
Yeah, I'm really good, mate. Really good. Obviously, it's all a bit grim in the UK at the moment, isn't it? With the announcement today and the threat of this new strain of COVID and restrictions and all the rest of it. But look, we're here to talk Star Wars, and there's nothing I love more. Talk Star Wars with you guys. I'm up for it.
Good man.
Cool.
So we're doing kind of, as I said, it was going to be V for Vendetta, but we've knocked that on the head. So we'll just talk Star Wars, bit of Shill Wars, just try and go into a happy place.
Force be with you.
So
The Force
there you
is
go.
female. Okay.
Impressive. Most impressive. Yeah.
So I
More
think
quotes better.
I think the idea is what we will do is we will literally just crash through all the Star Wars films.
Okay.
Well, that's what Disney did. So
Yeah,
pretty much.
We'll start at number one, and we'll just maybe speak 10, 15 minutes about each one and just kind of pile through them, and then.
Can
So are
we
you
make some-
talking about number one as in the first one,
Episode
which is the
1.
prequel?
Can we maybe
that
spend
was
5
number 1,
minutes
wasn't it?
on the sequels? If that. I mean, I'm
You
just
can
saying.
That long?
I know.
spend-
Which one
As
are you
long as
talking
you
about?
want.
Star Wars or the
I think
Phantom
he means
Menace?
episode 1.
Which is
Menace,
Phantom
right?
Menace.
just bear
Which is
with me.
Phantom Menace.
I need to press some buttons, so bear with me.
Star Wars is number 4. Phantom Menace is number 1, episode 1.
Ian, stop confusing it.
No, I'm not. You said number 1, so that is number 1, right?
Yes.
I know
Sorry.
I'm blind as a bat.
What can't you see? It
what
says
is that?
number 1.
Episode 1. I can't even see what it's called. Phantom
The
Menace.
Phantom
Phantom Menace. Yeah.
Who's going to start? We'll start at the bottom. Anthony,
Yeah.
what do you reckon?
Yeah, Phantom Menace. So, to put it into context, where this kind of slotted into my life. So, I was at uni when Phantom Menace came out. Obviously, huge fan of the originals, huge Star Wars fan, and really excited for the next George Lucas movie. I have to admit, it's grown on me over time. I was a bit
Like mold.
I was a bit off put with the direction he took with a lot of the CGI stuff over physical effects, practical effects, and so on. I wasn't a fan of Jar Jar Binks, so there was elements of it where I was like, oh, not quite for me. I didn't like the pod race thing. I didn't like young Anakin. I thought they should have really started with older Anakin. But that's the negative stuff just wrapped up there. Some of the stuff I love about it, I mean, Darth Maul, what a bad guy. The look, the agility, the moves, the fighting 2 Jedis at once, the dual lightsaber. He is absolutely fantastic. I wish we got more of him. It was quite a bold move to kill him off, actually, by the end of that first film. I love Liam Neeson in it. Absolutely love
Yeah, it was all right.
Qui-Gon. Loved Ewan McGregor. So there's a lot to love about this film, and my love for it has developed over the years. I've come to appreciate it more, especially since we've had all the Disney shit. So
I was just about to
so-
say that.
So yeah, I can appreciate it more and more actually, and there's more I love about the Phantom Menace than the little niggles I had maybe back in the day.
A masterpiece compared to what we've had of late. Swappers, what do you think?
Oh, I remember when, oh my god, the build up for this movie was the thing I remember most, more than the movie itself, was the anticipation for it, the
Yeah, I agree
trailer
with
when
that.
it got released. Oh my god, trying to download it on a 56k modem when people want to use the phone.
That's my world at the moment. that
Dial
is.
up Days of
Yeah.
Gylo.
Just a nightmare, yeah.
Yeah.
And when I did actually get to watch it, it was a moment. It was a real moment. It was, I was getting the chills. My hair down my back was standing up. I
Good
was
for you.
just, super pumped for it. Unfortunately, my curiosity got the better of me, and I found out pretty much everything there was to know about the film before it got released. So it wasn't any surprise to me when I came down to sit and watch it. But I suppose most people knew about what was going to happen in the movie anyway. But and you're going to laugh at this when I tell you, everybody, and I don't tell many people this. It's kind of a bit of a
Here we
secret.
go. Exclusive, everybody. Exclusive on 16 minutes.
It's not that good, but it's kind of, I'm airing my embarrassments here. When a good friend of me and a good friend of mine just couldn't wait for this film, so we ended up going online every available day to try and find out everything about it.
Oh.
And before the film got released, a week before it got released, we decided to see if we could go to a hypnotherapist and have it wiped from our memories.
What?
Yeah, we thought, if we're going to see a hypnotherapist, maybe we can just forget it all, and then when we go and watch it in the cinema, we won't it'll all be fresh to us, so we won't know about this. So yeah, we tried that. We actually tried that, and it didn't work. It didn't work. Surprise!
Did you try that after the Last Jedi?
Well, I would have if I still thought it was going to work. I'd be a much happier person if I could erase the sequel trilogy from my mind.
How dare you, you man baby!
You're Anthony. Stop it.
Oh, sorry.
But I
boss has
went and
spoken.
bought for this movie. I went to Toys R Us. I was at college at the time, and I blew a load of my cash. Right, I went and bought the entire range of. I went and bought the entire first wave of figures that were released by Hasbro, like Darth Maul and Anakin and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and all of those figures. I got them all for I think it was 90 quid or something like that. You pay a flat amount and you get all the figures in the wave instead of paying 10 quid a figure or whatever it was.
Oh wow!
So and in my college room, I had a section of the wall that was dedicated. I just pinned them all to the wall, like a massive mural on the wall. I was so into it, man. I was so excited for this movie.
Nice.
And went to the cinema to see it. It was 9 a.m. I think on a Saturday morning. Me and two of my friends went. Lifelong fans from 1977, and there were people in the staff were dressed in Jedi outfits and stuff. I mean, it was just a magical moment walking in there. We were so excited. We were so ready for this. And we sat down. We came out when we weren't that impressed with the movie, to be honest with you. But perspective and hindsight is a very wonderful thing to have. And during the interim from when this movie was released to today, I think a lot more fondly of it than I did back then. And like Anthony said, it gave us characters like Darth Maul, which is one of the greatest additions ever to the franchise. I can't think of Star Wars without him in it now.
Yeah.
He's, for me, greater than Vader. He's just an incredible character. And one of the biggest downsides for it was the fact they offed him at the end of the film. Spoilers.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
I wanted him to survive into the next movie at least. I wanted him to be like the Vader type character for this trilogy, and that wasn't Lucas's idea. He wanted to just create a character and kill him off and just have him as a temporary villain. So that was my biggest bugbear. But looking back on it, I can see all the great things that were in there. Even though the CG is kind of a bit ropey and stuff, you can see where Lucas was coming from with the things he was trying to create, and you can kind of get into his mindset and think where his mind was for Episode 4 and where his mindset was for Episode 1. And he wanted to create a family adventure movie, and I think he did it, and I think he did it really well. And it really does take you on a great adventure from one place to another on a roller coaster ride with ups and downs, and it kind of does everything it needs to be honest. And there are things I'd change about it, but I still think today, I think it's actually a good movie. Whereas 20 years ago, I probably wouldn't have said that at all. But in the light of what we've seen done to the franchise since, yeah, it's definitely a good film.
I think shall we just finish it there? Well done, Matthew. Well done. Ian, what do you think?
Okay, so I really wanted to see this film. I every time something amazing, I should say, it comes out like this, I make sure that I don't read anything about it. I don't see the trailer or whatever. And it was the same with this film. And one of the reasons why I wanted to see it was because it was one of the very first films to be shot digitally rather than using 35mm film. So I was really interested in to see how it looked. And so I went to see it. I thought it was okay. I love all the bits that had action stuff in it.
Yes,
I liked the pod race. Thought the pod race was quite fun.
It was okay.
Didn't like any of the characters at all. I liked Liam Neeson. I thought he was good. I was disappointed when he got killed. Same thing what Swapshop says. Darth Maul was probably one of the best characters ever created by Star Wars, and they killed him at the ending, which was disappointing.
Yep.
Keira Knightley was in it. The guy from Casualty was in it, as I recall.
Oh,
when I
yeah,
was watching it. Yeah, when I was watching, I was like, that guy from
You
Casualty,
watch
isn't
it,
that
yeah.
him? Yeah, and but you know, it wasn't a bad movie. It was just a thousand stops from being absolutely great, because George Lucas doesn't know how to direct. He's not a very good director at all. If you notice when you're watching the film that everything technical about the film was spot on, even when it came to the fights and even when it came to
Okay.
the actual sets and what it did.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example, right? So Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor takes on Darth Maul. And I mean, it just goes to show whoever thought this up, I doubt if it was George Lucas. When they're fighting, they have those things that separate them, don't they? Those force fields. So they have to stop fighting, right? And then I love that scene that you can see the Sith and the Jedi, how different they are. So when they're separated by the force field, Liam Neeson sits down, he crosses his legs, and he concentrates. And Darth Maul is just wandering around like an animal waiting to attack. Do you know what I mean? And it's those little bits that I think is really amazing about the film. And I think they may have come from George Lucas, because George is just technical when it comes to things like that, when it comes to constructing a scene. But he's rubbish at writing, and he's rubbish at directing actors. I mean, what kid says yippee? Do you know what I mean? There's no kid, whatever universe you're in, they don't say that. Yippee. You know?
Maybe they watched Die Hard.
Yeah, maybe. but and also,
That's right.
what kind of parent
I
would
know.
put their kid in a pod race that's so dangerous? The guy, what is he, 9?
Was obviously no health and safety on that planet.
Exactly. But I did, there were some amazing things. The effects, there were some amazing effects in there for the time. You know, C-3PO without any of his armor, walking around like a skeleton. That was kind of one of the first times you saw that happen.
Yeah.
You know, the
King of the
CGI.
reach around.
Yeah, exactly. The CGI was pretty. It was pretty good. It wasn't great, but by today's standards, but it was pretty good.
Yeah.
And as I said, you couldn't tell, because I remember when they showed this film, they projected it by 35mm, but it was shot digitally, because at that moment in time they didn't have a lot of digital cinemas.
Yeah,
where I lived, of course. So I saw that in 35, and I couldn't tell whether that was digital or 35. And then when I saw it digitally, when they showed it digitally, I happened to have, I couldn't tell at all. So I did like the film, but there are huge chunks of the film that doesn't work. Like the political side doesn't work. We don't care about the political side of things.
Yeah, we're not bothered about that.
Yeah, we're not bothered about that. But some of that you can't fault the technical side of the film. And for that, I would say it was enjoyable to a point. And I came out a bit disappointed, but still a Star Wars fan. You know, there you go.
Good man. Reni?
So yeah, I went in with excitement personally, because it was the first Star Wars film in almost 20 years.
Oh yes.
And so I did see 2 of the trailers. The one that really sparked my curiosity is the one with the droids. I'm like, what what is this all about? But I personally, of course, really liked Darth Maul, and I really liked Liam Neeson's character Qui-Gon Jinn, and you know, I thought it was interesting. You knew by the name Queen Amidala, it's like, well, Princess Leia is a princess. This is obviously her mother. So it's pretty easy to put the 2 and 2 together. But you know, yeah, for all its faults, still a fairly good film and still enjoyable. Loved the effects. Some of the CG was a little over the top, yes, of course, but the fight scenes were amazing. It felt like Star Wars, and that's what's important, is that it felt like it. And you didn't feel like you did with certain movies later on that they weren't really part of Star Wars.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt like it. And I came out of the theater going, okay, that Jar Jar Binks is a little bit weird, but everything else was, you know, pretty
annoying.
tolerable. So, yeah. But other than that, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and for me, it was fun. And when I watched the interview with George Lucas talking about how instead of this just being Luke and Leia's story, it wound up being the whole family story and Anakin's story. And Darth Vader was always my favorite character, so that's what interested me the most about it.
Brian?
I missed the question, obviously, being out and about. I think we've just did a little couple of minutes on.
Just
on
you know, how you feel about it, what you thought, just basically your experience when you know, just you know, when you went to see it, you know, thoughts. We're just going to pile through all the films as quickly as we can. So,
Right, no worries, cheers.
but obviously, you know, take your time.
At the time, I actually wasted this film for myself because I had to know what was going to happen. I think if you remember the teaser trailer that dropped way back, we're sitting with the dial up for about 3 hours trying to download this one bit of film. So I knew what was going to happen to the whole thing, having read the script. I think it was a couple of nights before. I had to know. I completely wasted it for myself. But slightly disappointed, but it was still a Star Wars film, and we still got the fantastic lightsaber duels through it.
Yes.
Having those criticisms about it, it now seems like Shakespeare in comparison with some of the stuff we've been seeing of late. One thing you need to remember about the Phantom Menace, I know it gets quite annoying about the kind of low-level political stuff that's in it, especially like the Trade Federation. Remember the threat level, the overall threat level in that story has to start off relatively low if that's where Lucas is going to start his story, because we think of the original Star Wars, the threat level from the Empire is really high because they're in charge, and obviously it has to start lower down with the Phantom Menace and build its way up by the time Revenge of the Sith comes, and then obviously it dips back down again. One of the problems I think with the sequels was that the threat level starts really high when it should really be starting low and working its way back up again. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that they made. Like many people, I didn't like Jar Jar Binks at all.
Did anybody?
No,
Can we call him Jar Jar Brown?
Jar Jar Abrams?
And on that note,
surprise.
see you later, Reni. Gonna boot you off. Gobble gobble.
But as I think Reni said, it's still a relatively solid Star Wars film. And Ian said it does definitely felt like Star Wars. Yeah. But it was slightly,
you came out.
disappointing.
You still wanted to support Star Wars when you came out of it, because it was definitely a Star Wars film, unlike the last three, you know. So there you go.
We will get to them at some point. Shall we just say hello to some of the peeps in the chat? Citizen333, Naladak is in. The Mighty King Dolphin TV is in. Krual Birab.
Hey,
Jonathan Brent.
hello there.
The number one Ruin fan, Pcats.
Hello there.
Hello, Pcats,
Fever
you man, baby.
1969. Usual
Peacock,
faces,
number one
to be
man,
honest.
baby.
Mayor McCheese, Bacon Baby.
Woo!
What about bacon?
Bacon.
Yeah,
Bacon!
we've had it already. Bacon.
Oh, excellent. Bacon.
Yay.
Edge of Time, hello. I think Cockney Spock was in there at some point.
Where?
I think that's about it. I think that's it. So,
I think
hello.
I saw Sandra Feliciano
And last but not
Canadian
least,
Spider-Man.
Sandra, and definitely Canadian Spider-Man. So, hello, everybody. So, overall, what we're saying, panel, is the first film, we liked it. At least it was Star Wars. It wasn't perfect, but it came from the right place. Is that what we're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Certainly.
Brown, can I make a small request, please?
I think you're going to.
I'm going to regardless. You're right. So I've got a spreadsheet all primed, and as we go through each movie, can I get a quick score out of 10, and then we'll end up with a consensus of our
do it on
best
30
to worst.
minutes. Go on, let's just do it.
Cool. Okay, mine is a very solid 8 for Phantom Menace.
Swaps.
6.5, 7 out of 10.
Mega.
Our numbers.
5.
Reni?
7.
Bright?
Same as Swappers, 6.5 to 7, I'd say.
Okay. Do you want mine as well?
Yes, please, Mr. B.
I'd probably give it a 7.
Okay.
Sweet.
Easy
Anthony,
on the decimals as well. I'm not great with maths, so.
Are you totaling these up then, and then you're going to give us
I'm
the
going to
results
total them
later?
up. I will, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I
Right.
personally would round up the 6.5s to 7s because
Yeah,
mathematically
no
that's what
half
you should
points.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, no half
Right,
points.
well said, Rennie.
Okay, so shall we press some buttons and go on to the next?
Do it.
Right, okay. Brian, you can go first this time.
This was deemed, I think, at the time to be better than The Phantom Menace. I recall, however, I think, especially if you read the Twitter discourse, this now appears to be the worst of the sequels. The prequels. I would disagree. I know it's got problems. I know there's a lot of cringeworthy moments in it. Especially some of the romance scenes didn't quite go the way maybe George Lucas had wanted. I really, really like this film. I loved that Christopher Lee was involved, and
Yes,
although he's
very
got a
good,
few
very
lines
good.
here or there that are
Yes.
a bit kind of dull, his involvement was just fab. The political stuff carries on again, but I've kind of touched on that. I loved the lightsaber battles towards the end. I think one thing that we're hoping for a bit more of was seeing Anakin losing it. We just saw a little snippet of it when Shmi passes away, and I think the way they did that was really quite well done. You definitely feel his loss, I would say, but you wanted to see him killing all the sand people and going crazy. At least I did.
Yeah, but then they would have had to probably change the rating because it was not family friendly, so to speak.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what it is. I think some of the stuff towards the end with the droid factory was a bit like a computer game.
Yeah.
That kind of took it away
Yeah.
of it, and I think the CGI for some of it really doesn't hold up
Sucks.
anymore.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's beard really annoyed me. If you watch it again,
But they
Remember
were
sitting
trying
at-
to get him closer to, I think A New Hope, to where he's like aging and then he starts growing out the
Well,
beard. And
the problem is, and I maybe noticed this at the cinema because it was sitting relatively close to the front, but there was a few pickups and reshoots done where they changed some of the context of the scenes. So if you look close, you'll see Obi-Wan's got the fine Ewan McGregor beard, and then it'll switch every now and again, and he's got this ridiculous wispy looking beard.
Did he have the mullet at this stage?
He had the big, as Ewan McGregor would say, the big Jedi mullet he was sporting.
BG's
Magnificent.
hair.
Yes.
Moving on.
Overall, yeah, I liked it. I mean, it's still not anything like as good as the originals for obvious reasons, but I wouldn't be anything like as critical as some of the Twitterverse is being with this film.
Yeah. Reni?
yeah, I think it gets a worse rep than it deserves. I agree with Brian 100% on that. What I really liked was the whole idea of where the stormtroopers came from. They were originally clones. That's pretty
Yeah, I quite
freaking
like that,
cool.
Yeah, I quite like
And they derived from Boba Fett's father, so to speak, or original, whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
I thought that was really cool. I loved Jango Fett in the movie. I thought he was a really cool character, and I liked his getup. I thought his outfit was pretty freaking cool compared to Boba. Like later on, you could tell Boba tried to replicate it, but he was poor and he didn't have the kind of money his father had. So, he didn't really have the means to have armor, so to speak. But I liked, a lot of the battles. Yeah, some of the CG was kind of crap, but Samuel Jackson and Christopher Lee also helped to make the movie really good.
Did he have a purple lightsaber?
He sure did. And, the purple lightsaber was created because he
wanted
asked
purple.
George for that. So
Oh, yes.
I thought that was really cool. But the way the way that they explain it in the canon is that his character balances between the light and the dark side of the force whenever he fights. So he has both blue and red crystals. And I
Nice.
thought that was really cool.
Nice.
So yeah, I really respected Mace Windu for that. So yeah, I think it gets a lot more hate than it deserves. Yeah, it's got some cheesy pickup lines and stuff, but overall, I like it.
If I remember correctly, I think I kind of liked the look of all the military equipment and the drop ships and stuff if I remember correctly. Ian?
Yeah. I didn't really think much of this one. I thought the romance brought the whole thing down. The performances were really poor from Christian and what's her name was she's okay. She's always good actually, but Christian Haydenson's performance was absolutely terrible.
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, Natalie Portman was. She's always good. It doesn't matter what she does.
Who was in
she's a
V
really
for
good
Vendetta.
actress. Yeah,
That's right.
with no hair.
Yeah, we'll see her next week, boys and girls.
Yeah, and I think Keira Knightley was in this film as well, wasn't she? She was playing the double, or was that the first film? I can't remember.
No, it was only the
Yes.
first film. She wasn't in
Oh, was
this
it only
one.
the first film? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's got some nice bits in it. I like the ending where there are, with the monster and stuff like that. And the reason why Samuel L. Jackson got a purple lightsaber is not because of what Reni said. According to Samuel L. Jackson.
He told Lucas he wanted a purple lightsaber,
Well,
but
he
they made it
told-
canon.
No, he told Graham Norton on Graham Norton's show that he asked George Lucas if he can have a purple one, and George Lucas says, "Well, there's only green and red?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, I want a purple one." And then George Lucas, when he came to the set, George said, "Take a look at this," and I gave him a purple one. And the reason why he wanted a purple one was because when they had the big war, at the ending where all the Jedi's was fighting all those other people, which I can't remember. Samuel L. Jackson said he can spot himself because he's the only one that has the purple lightsaber in the crowd. So
But
when
he's
he looks at
not.
that scene, the wide shot, if he spots the purple lightsaber, that's where he is. That's what he said on Graham Norton. Exactly.
Really?
That's what,
No,
you can look it up
watch
on
it.
YouTube. Yeah, you
That's
can look it up on
several
YouTube.
a British
That's
exactly what he
television
says.
program, Reni.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
I
that's
know.
why
I
he
used to
said.
watch
That's
it.
why he said. That's why he said he wanted a purple lightsaber because he wanted to spot himself in the big war at the end.
Oh my goodness.
That's what he said.
I'm sure
I know
I
he requested
yeah.
purple, and then they made it canon.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. But apart from that, it was okay. Again, I came out disappointed, but then again, I came out still a Star Wars fan. Do you know what I mean? And it was
Yeah.
it still felt like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah, and it had some really
Yeah.
good effects in there as well.
Yeah.
Some really. I mean, it was the first time you saw people jump on the back of a monster and ride them. And to me, you know what? The thing about George Lucas, when he was making his Star Wars films, he always wanted to up the ante when it came to visual effects. And you can see from Star Wars to Empire to Jedi to Episode 1 and Episode 2, he was up in the ante with the visual effects, things you'd never seen on screen. And he achieved it in this one. I said I never saw anyone ride one of those horrible tiger things at the ending. I thought that looked so good. But anyway, I'll stop there. Go on, Swappers. Tell us what you think.
Go on, Swaps.
I've just watched, as you all were talking, I just watched it in silence. I watched the trailer for it just now. And listening to what everyone was saying about it. And I'll get the bad out of the way first with it. Like Ian said, I think it's what spoilt the film, what spoilt the experience for me was the flat acting. Everyone was very cardboard in this film, even Ewan McGregor. When you consider how animated and in deep he goes with his characters, like in Trainspotting, and to see him just being so blank in this, but that's down to Lucas's direction. He didn't get the best out of the actors, I don't think. And I think with a more involved director, I think this film would have turned out a lot different. But that's the worst thing I can say about it. Apart from that, visually it's incredible. There's some incredible shots in it. Cinematography is amazing. CG, obviously, you can say that for every one of these movies. It's looking dated and probably should have used more practical effects than CG. But the biggest thing I can say about the prequels that I love about all three movies, and this is no exception, is the innovation in design, the production design. Now, Ralph McQuarrie wasn't working on this. Now, he's a god of concept design and production design. And Doug Chiang was taking his place on this as head of production design. And he did an incredible job. I mean, I don't think you could really get closer to McQuarrie's style without being different. Obviously, Lucas didn't want the look of the original trilogy. He wanted a whole different look. This is why one reason why I think the prequels are really valid is because of the style and the whole overall look. I think Lucas is just a genius with making things look the way they do, and evoking the feeling just from visuals.
I agree.
It flicks switches in your brain that you didn't even know existed. To make you feel ways that you didn't necessarily think you could feel. I'm not talking about happy and sad. I'm talking about emotions that we don't have words for, feelings that you can't quite quantify, but it makes you feel a certain emotion and a certain mood. And Lucas is so brilliant at doing that for all his movies, and he's like the ultimate consultant for the design of everything. And ultimately, the visual look of it is what we remember of all these movies. How everything
ships.
Yeah,
and awesome.
And this film was a great example of the production design. It was just all over the place, incredible. And we got to see Yoda actually being a Jedi warrior, I guess you could say, in combat. A lot of people, don't like that, but I don't have any problem with it. What else do you expect? That's what he'd do, I think. He's only tiny. Of course he'd jump around and, and just because he's old doesn't mean to say, it's like age doesn't dictate your skill and ability as a Jedi. It's what's in your mind, basically. That's what
I felt like he got his strength from the Force.
Basically when he kind of switches the Force on and he becomes young again.
That's how I felt exactly.
Yeah. And you've got Dooku, who's like in his 70s, and he's still an amazing swordsman. So age does not come into it at all.
I think
that's a good message to get across as well. Is like it's certain things are in your head, and it's what you believe rather than what you let other people or society make you believe.
Wow.
So I think it kind of made older characters that wouldn't necessarily be cool in the 70s and 80s as cool in these movies. So a bit like sort of Saruman and Gandalf, they're very cool characters in Lord of the Rings. Everyone,
absolutely, Matt. Absolutely,
Matthew.
And it's similar with this. It's like that if you've got a big white beard and a lightsaber, then you're the ultimate, in Star Wars. And I think Dooku fills the villain role really well in this. I still wanted Maul to be in it personally, but I thought Christopher Lee did an incredible job. And yeah, okay.
Sorry, Matt. Also, it was one of the second times that they actually put someone's face over the stuntman, because when Christopher Lee was fighting, it wasn't him as a stuntman, but they grafted his face over the character. And also, sorry to interrupt you, but also it was one of the very first times you saw Yoda as an animated CGI 3D person.
Fully 3D,
yeah. Sorry, carry on.
The future had arrived.
Even though it doesn't hold up today, I don't think the CG still it benefits. It still works. It's
still average.
It doesn't look terrible. It doesn't take you out of the experience of the movie. But it's not like practical effects would be. But I thought, as far as technically, I thought the film was very good. Just the only thing to let it down was the flat acting for me. So it was another disappointment. But again, in hindsight, I can look back at it and I can see, in light of what Disney have done, how great it actually is in comparison.
I will just read a couple of chats. Sorry, guys, we're not ignoring you. It's just I kind of get the feeling that this is going to be a long one, so we really do need to pile through. Obviously, I've been putting the chats on the screen. Jonathan Brent, I don't fault Hayden's performance. I fault his direction and lines, literally, as you were saying, Matt. King Dolphin says, I tried to make Natalie a sex symbol, but her acting was flat. Jonathan Brent again, I thought they did a great job with Yoda. And Kruel Birab, brave of you, boy. I thought you'd have learnt your lesson. 333, I fault his performances. I kind of get the feeling that everybody's not liking the acting. Anthony?
Yeah, so look, I revisited this movie. It's probably the one I've watched least out of the 6 Lucas movies, and it probably gets the most hate, actually. And I revisited it, and I enjoyed it. And I'll be completely honest. There's things I don't. There's things I don't like. This is weird to be so positive rather than have the room. But Yeah, first of all, things I didn't like. I didn't like Dex's diner. I thought that was a bit too real world.
Yeah.
I didn't like Dex as a character.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't like
was creepy.
He was. It was with the very hands on, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I didn't like C-3PO's head on the battle droid. Didn't like that whole thing. I know
This
it was
is
a
a
bit
drag.
of fun, but yeah, not so
So
keen on
weird.
that. And obviously the romance we've mentioned. But if we didn't have the romance, we wouldn't get that awesome Anakin Padme meme, which I'm always rolling out. So we have to give it a nod for that. But the things I did like, I liked Zam Wessel. I fancied Zam Wessel, actually, that female bounty hunter. Thought she was pretty cool. I loved the whole
the uniform.
I loved everything. I even loved her when she turned to that
It's a
lizard
uniform.
thing when she was nice. I love the death stick scene. You know, the whole nightclub thing.
I don't want to
love
buy
that,
any death
man.
sticks.
Yeah. The old mind control, and I need to go rethink my life. I love that. It was so cool. Ryan Johnson, take note. That's how you do a kind of, not canto shite. You do it like George did.
If I may,
Yeah.
the Dexter's Diner, that wasn't Dexter, the TV series, was it?
Nope.
No.
Right,
Dexter
moving
Jetster.
Tumbleweed.
Extreme killer.
on. Tumbleweed, Stream Killer.
Another little one, but it's just such a small feature which I absolutely loved. R2D2 using his thrusters.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. Actually seeing
torches.
R2 fly, yeah. And I love that kind of backstory that he could do that, and then he lost the ability to do it, and they couldn't replace the parts.
I
and
wish I could
just love all that.
fly.
I'm going to put some controversial out there. I think this
Oh.
could be the best Obi-Wan movie. I know that's a controversial statement. I love the kind of noir detective side quest, and his battle with Jango Fett on Camino is just epic.
Is
I love
it
that.
is it the as we said previously, the BG's haircut, the mullet?
Yeah, it's not his best hair movie, but it's his best kind of adventure movie and battle movie. The haircuts, very dodge, to be honest. What else have I got on my list? Mace Windu, Yoda we've mentioned. I love Dooku, and actually, I really dig the Colosseum scene where the chain to the post and they got the monsters coming out. I think there's a lot to love about this movie. I think everyone just goes on about some of the.
Excuse me.
Shut up, R2.
Yeah,
That was, like, right in my
everyone everyone disses it for the some of the bad lines and some of the bad acting, but there's a lot to like about it. So I want to just give you a positivity bomb for Attack of the
Your
What's that
number one
line? Anakin, you're going to be the death of me, he says at one point. isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, who didn't laugh at that time?
Jedi Knight Fever.
I just
from
went,
Peter.
ugh. But it was all right.
Are we going to do some marks out of 10?
Yeah.
Brian?
Solid 7, I'd say.
Reni?
7 for me.
Geek?
It's a 4.
Ooh.
Oh, what the?
Chat, marks out of 10. Swappers?
6 for me.
Holy crap.
From me, I would say, I'm going to say 7 again, because I liked the kind of all the military look, how it progressed from the previous one. I just thought it looked spot on. Ruin?
He's good at that.
Yeah, I'm going to say 7 as well.
I think it went down from the number 1 to number 2. I thought that it went down, but you can't fault him for the technical side of everything that George Lucas did in this film. It's a shame he didn't find a balance between directing them properly and making sure the story worked. He concentrated more on the technical side, and that's what George Lucas is all about, unfortunately. So yeah, there you go.
A few marks from the. We'll just go through the chat. Cruel, 8 out of 10. Wookie, 8. Raymond, 7. 333, 8.5. P-Wank, 5. And my personal favourite, 5.
Did Bruin not say let's not do half marks?
You did. Moving on.
Bad
on
chat.
50 minutes.
Bad chat.
You naughty boys in the chat. Okay, so
Man,
so what we're
baby.
saying, guys, we still enjoyed it. Not what we wanted, really, but at least it's still Star Wars, would we say?
Yeah, it still felt like Star Wars.
Yeah.
it is,
Absolutely.
It's a good rewatch.
And obviously some loved it more than others. Okay, so the last of the prequels, who can go first? Reni.
Okay, so this is my favorite out of the 3 prequels.
Good for you.
I was hoping to see Anakin start out probably as a teenager and then like watch him turn evil like less quickly. I did not like how quickly he turned evil, but I did like all the action. I liked the relationship they showed between him and Palpatine and what a manipulative ass Palpatine really is. And if you watch in his office, so to speak, you can see a lot of Sith artifacts, and the fact that he was hiding right under the Jedi's noses was pretty interesting. But at the same time, the dark side clouds the light side of the Force. But I thought the Palpatine and Yoda battle was halfway decent. The main thing I didn't like is how they explained Amidala dying. Padme dying was kind of lame. But I really liked a lot of this movie. I liked Mustafar. I liked, even though he was kind of lame. What's his name? Oh my God, I just forgot. General Grievous.
Kind of lame. What's his name? I'm a poet. I don't even know it.
General Grievous. Like the whole like coughing robot thing was kind of weird, but when Lucas explained as to why, it made a lot of sense. So I don't know. I really liked it. It's my favorite out of the 3. And if you read the novelization, it's very heartbreaking because the last scene where you see Darth Vader looking out
spoilers
at the Death Star being built, it explains in the book this is how it feels to be Anakin, lonely, sad, miserable kind of thing, and you could feel his pain when you watch that in the movie, but to read it in the book and get that validated just, breaks your heart because you don't realize, he was doing all of this to save his family or to save the people he loved, and he wound up doing a whole self-fulfilling prophecy or fulfilling prophecy, which is really sad. Yeah. So, but yeah, I liked it, and I loved seeing Christensen in the Darth Vader suit. So,
was it worth the wait?
Absolutely for me.
Okay. Swaps.
I was really hoping that Anakin would have become Vader in the second movie, and then we would have got this whole film with Vader in it. I really was, when I knew the prequels were being made and I knew we were going to see Darth Vader came out, I was hoping we'd see him on screen, and we didn't get to see him at all, unless until the last like minute or so of the movie, which was a big letdown. But this one I enjoyed more than the other 2, I guess. I was still hoping for more, but again, it was Lucas's direction that let it down for me. But again, we had amazing. Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of anything that Lucas puts out production design wise, and so that alone for me, this film kind of satisfied me in that respect. So new spaceships, droids, sequences. The opening sequence, which was like 10-minute long battle, which was mind-blowingly good.
Cut down from 1 hour, apparently.
That's a shame. They should have kept it all in.
Yeah, it was all 1 hour. Can you believe it? A 1 hour space battle at the beginning. I'd have been into that.
Yeah.
I think they should do a redo of that movie, a re-release. And,
all done 1 hour.
Bring on the pew pew.
Put it all back in.
Yeah.
Basically release it. Release a new version of it for like they did with Lord of the Rings. The extended version. Just do that. So I think there was a lot.
Lord of the Rings.
They couldn't.
Oh my God, film. Matt! I love you so much today for bringing that up like 3 times.
And what I didn't, the main thing I didn't like about it though was the fact that the ending was so rushed. I thought that they tried to.
I hated it.
They tried to get so much in to explain the original trilogy that they just rushed the ending to it, and there was no time to explain certain things, and everything was just sort of off the cuff remarks, and things were left outstanding, and things didn't make sense. that's what I didn't like about it. But the whole duality with Anakin, I really enjoyed. Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, fantastic. I absolutely love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and I wasn't sure I was going to warm to him when I first found out he was playing the part, but this movie solidified it for me. And it's almost now when I kind of think back to Obi-Wan and kind of put myself in the character's head when I'm writing and stuff, I think of Ewan McGregor saying the lines instead of Alec Guinness, which is kind of sacrilege almost. But so I really did
Still
enjoy.
not bad, though.
I did enjoy his portrayal.
Still not bad.
Again, we're failing with the cardboard performances here and there. But I thought Ian McDiarmid had a lot more to do in this movie, and I loved him as Sidious. He was the best thing about the entire film. Oh my God, just glorious! Every single minute, every single second he was on screen. It's like seeing the Joker on screen or Dracula or whatever. You're sort of drinking in the hamminess, or not hamminess, but the scenery chewing thespianism of the actor, and just relishing what they're putting out on screen, and it's just wonderful. And I think McDiarmid is such a brilliant actor that he just shamed everyone else completely. He really did his best with this movie.
I have to agree with that, Matt. I completely forgot about that when I was talking about it. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, for me, it's his movie. It's Sidious's movie. We really got to see him be Sidious, the Emperor. And his gloriously evil mannerisms and his speeches and everything. And it was especially at the end, when he really is after his battle scarring and everything.
Corral agrees.
Glorious. I really love General Grievous, but unfortunately, we didn't get to see enough of him. We saw him in the animated series a little bit. We got damaged and stuff. But I wish we'd had that in the film. It would have been so much better, And I think there was a lot of failings of Lucas coming through in the prequels that we didn't get to. It was a lot of tell not show, which it should be the opposite. It should be what we get. But at the end of the movie, I came out a lot more satisfied than the other two films, but still let down. Still thinking I could have done a better job myself, But I've got to end it on a positive note, and that this film, and like all the other prequel movies, looked utterly glorious. The designs and everything were just so memorable, and it's just an utterly visually beautiful, stunning feast.
Space battle, amazing.
Yeah, and I can't fault it for that. So I've got to out of 10, I'm going to say now I'm giving this one an 8.
Wow. Ian. Moving on.
Yeah. It suffers from the same thing that the other two suffered from, which was not enough focus was on the script, the common sense of the script, the logic of the script, and also performance-wise. So what George Lucas lacks in writing a script and directing actors, he excels in the other parts, as I said, with the visual effects and the look of the thing and the technical side. Again, he excels in the technical side on this film, and it's amazing to watch. Well, I thought it was anyway. I mean, some of the effects are outdated now, but at the time, it was, especially the ending, the lava scene and stuff, it just really looked fantastic.
I hated it.
Oh, did you? I thought it looked fantastic personally.
No, I love the lava stuff.
The film looked amazing, but I think this film needed Star Wars needs to look amazing, but if there was one film that needed to have a tight script and not going from A to B to C to D within 5 seconds, it was this film. Because I remember being sat in the cinema with my boss from work at the time with the lava scene. We were just looking at each other. We were just laughing at each other. And it's like, what is this fucking shit? It just felt so rushed. And it's like, what the hell is this?
But as I said, I thought the effects
horrible.
I thought the effects in that scene was really quite good. And I mean, as I said, right, and I keep harping on about this, George Lucas is a terrible director. So if you look at New Hope, Episode 4, as we call it now, he didn't write. He wrote it with someone else. It was edited by someone else, and he had a hard time directing because the actors kept taking the piss out of him all the time because he didn't know how to direct actors. And then he didn't direct Empire. That was Lawrence. What's his face? I can't remember his name. Kasdan, and he didn't direct the Jedi, Return of the Jedi, did he? He didn't direct that one either. So those films were good because the direction was solid in all of them, no matter what you think of those three. With this one, all three is directed by George Lucas, and he's proven through these films that he cannot direct. He is absolutely useless at directing. I don't know, because I remember Ewan McGregor was talking about him, and he was saying he didn't get any direction from George Lucas. Anything that he did, George Lucas was like, that was okay. Do you know what I mean? So that is the main problem with this film. But apart from that, I did enjoy it to a point. And I hated the bit where Darth Vader went, no! I just killed myself laughing in the cinema. I just thought that was so cheesy. But you know what? It's okay. As I said, I was still a Star Wars fan after this. That's all I can say.
just thought, literally, within the space of 30 seconds, he was good Anakin to bad Anakin. And it was like, what?
They pushed it too far.
What?
Plus, they got rid of Samuel L. Jackson's character really stupidly, didn't they? Zapped out of a window. And like, what?
Yeah, the whole, no, you will die.
I think I've only seen this film once, and that was at the cinema. It was like, the Emperor goes, you're bad. Okay. And that was it. What?
But you know what the problem is? The problem is that no one had the guts to tell George Lucas that what he was doing was absolute rubbish. Everybody was licking his ass. If you see the behind the scenes, everyone was licking his ass. You know, Rick, what's his name? Is it Rick Berman? Is it Rick Berman? Him. Yeah, he should have literally stood up and said, "Look, George, this is trash. You know, this you've got to solve this section here. There's no point looking at the technical side. You've got to make sure these actors work, and they don't work." But no one said that to him, and quite rightly so, because he owns the company and it's his money, and he didn't give a shit about anything. You know, he just saw what he saw at the end of the day. But I think now he admits that he should never have directed those last three. I think now.
First three.
Anyway, those three, the prequels. Should never have directed the prequels.
Yeah,
but you know, there you go.
Yeah, Brian, have I asked you?
I'm going to have to say I disagree with some of the points that you guys have made. Revenge of the Sith is very much a guilty pleasure of mine. I know it's got a lot of problems here and there. I know it causes problems, particularly for Return of the Jedi, which we'll probably get to later on. But I absolutely love this film. It's clearly nothing like as good as the originals again, but it's one of my real favourites.
I have the high ground. Sorry.
I thought it was brave of George Lucas to make it a tragedy out and out. I think the acting's slightly better, and as Damon just touched upon, Ian McDiarmid is superb in this film. He steals the entire film, and it felt as if it kind of come out of nowhere. I liked the duel. I thought the duel was incredible, and especially when you see how much work they did to make it that. I thought there was moments during that when it cut between that duel and Sidious Yoda, but it was really quite exhilarating. I loved General Grievous. I thought he was a kind of like an old school villain, you know, one of these guys that just runs away, like the kind of cad, old school, where he runs away and he only ever fights if he's been cornered into a space. The quick turn that you were talking about, I think Reni first mentioned it and then you guys elaborated on it a bit. One of the reasons I think for that is that they've cut a scene. There was a scene where Anakin's supposed to confront Shaak Ti and kill Shaak Ti. And they had to cut it out. And I think
bad move.
That makes it slightly jarring. But in terms of his turn overall, you know, it took 3 films for Anakin to turn. And it starts off with him being away from, separated from his mother from an early age and not having a parental figure to really look out for him that way and deal with the side of him that isn't a Jedi, that the other Jedi wouldn't have had. He's also got the lust for power that he needs to try and save Padme that he wasn't able to do for his mother. So that's keeping him going. The Jedi are treating him as if he doesn't really matter. He's not important, and his ego has been stroked constantly by Palpatine. So I can see why in that very film it looks as if it's rushed. but over the 3 films, his character arc wasn't rushed for me.
Yeah.
There's one thing that there's one thing that's kind of fucked up.
Well done.
This film, when he kills Count Dooku, if you've seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, DiCaprio's character is told that he's only employed, now he's an older actor, he's only employed in order to be killed off and make the young upcoming actor look badass.
Yeah.
And whenever I see that scene now with Christopher Lee, I think, God, is that the reason why George Lucas got Christopher Lee on board? Pacing of the film, the first act, the pacing is deplorable, I would say. So much happens so quickly, and I think towards the end that happens again, but maybe not as bad as the first time. The Matthew Stover novel, although I know the captain would go off his head about extra material being brought in, but if you read Matthew Stover's novel, you'll probably enjoy the film about twice as much. It's well worth a read.
So I've heard.
I knew you loved Star Trek, but amazing, mate. In the chat, this one's for you, Ian. 333 says, at the Mega Geek, got to agree with you about George's overall directing ability. Great storytelling, not such a great director other than THX 1138 and the first Star Wars film. So,
I mean, he did
there you
direct
go.
what's that one that was set in the 50s, which was quite good.
American Graffiti.
American Graffiti was quite good. But apart from that, he's never really got the hang of directing, I don't think. Personally,
No.
I don't. I may be wrong about
I think this one's for you, Brian. From
Brian getting some heat.
Can you read it?
Oh,
Yeah.
hell.
It says, could we have the real, not Brian Young back, please? Not this impossible bad takes.
Aw.
Charming.
Oh, dear.
Charming to the last.
So they want the actual Brian Young. Is that what they want?
333. What a guy. Man, this
What a
stream is really
guy.
good. It's just a shame nobody knows we're here, mate. But as I always say, the people that matter know that we're here.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
That's right.
It's small, it's personal, it's nice. So,
That's right.
okay. So, I can't quit you. Ruin. Thoughts?
Yeah, so I've been really positive over Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but I do not love Revenge of the Sith as much as everyone else, I'm afraid.
Well,
there's
I didn't
stuff
like it.
Yeah, I'm talking generally. Like, there's a lot of love for this film in the fan base, isn't there? A lot of people put this right near the top of the.
There's a lot of love for
the
these
movie
films,
ranking.
full stop, from the chat. These three, what we've done, literally, the comments have just been piling up through the chat. So there is love for these films.
Oh yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot I like about this. As people have mentioned, I love Ian McDiarmid in it. I love the space opera scene with him and Anakin. I think that's a fantastic scene. I love the Mustafar battle. Just to add on to the conversation about Brownie said he didn't like the lava. I think Mega Geek said he did. They actually use real volcanic footage. They cut that in. So
They did,
yeah.
They did.
So really nice.
They
touch
actually went
there.
out there and shot it, didn't they?
Yeah, at Mount Etna, in Italy.
Yeah.
And I loved one little reference, which they don't dwell on clumsily like Disney tend to when they make their references, where Obi-Wan picks up the Anakin's lightsaber.
Yeah.
And we know that the next time we see that is when he gives it to Luke. I love that little reference. That's a chills moment. What I didn't like, I didn't like Grievous. I'm sorry to the Grievous fans. I hated General Grievous. He's my least favorite prequel character after Jar Jar Binks, I'm afraid. I just didn't get it. The coffin robot and everything else. Everyone's mentioned the pacing, and you're all right. I think the pacing seemed well off. The original cut of this movie was around the 4-hour mark, and they edited it down to 2 hours 20 minutes, I think it was. So they've nearly cut out half the movie, and it feels like it.
That went, wasn't it? An hour-long space battle. I'd have
But
paid
it
to
just
see
goes
that.
to show, doesn't it, that because the films, when directors make films that long, that means they were totally out of focus when they were doing the production in the first place, and that's why it's
Yeah.
so long. And that is the case with George, I reckon. So there you go.
You know, if they made it today, and I know a lot of franchises do this just for the hell of it, but they would have done it as a two-parter.
Part 1, Part 2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think this is one which would have merited that. But
Yes, absolutely.
I agree with Matt. I think we should have seen Vader in the suit earlier. I was a bit disappointed just seeing him kind of right at the end, and all we got was the no. I didn't like the Yoda lightsaber fight. Sorry, everyone. It got a lot of laughs in the cinema, but every time
Come
I watch
back,
that back
Ruin.
now,
Ruin, come back. Anthony, go away. Ruin, come back.
I didn't dig
No,
it.
I agree with what Anthony's saying. Totally agree with what he's saying.
Yeah.
You know.
And then the only other little interesting bit, which I read once, and it's always stuck with me, and I'm so glad they didn't do it. Apparently, there was a plan to have a 10-year-old Han Solo being raised by Chewbacca. And he would have featured
never get
in
away
the
with that
Battle of
now.
Kashyyyk. I know it's that would have been. I mean, as it was already
Solo lost money.
Yeah, it was already stretching the limits to have kind of Chewie vaguely featuring in it, but to have Han, a 10-year-old Han, yeah. But look, overall, it's a good film. I'm not ripping it to shreds by any means. It is a good film. It's just not one of my favourites. I'm afraid.
I will just say to the chat, marks out of 10, boys and girls. Keep them full marks as well, not points. I will say with going back to what Brian said about a key scene was cut out about when he was turning. I just felt like I'm watching Anakin normal, and then 30 seconds later, he's bad.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what? And
Kill the
then
rest of the kids.
me and my boss at the time, we just looked at each other in the cinema. I was like, what the fuck? And because he's a massive Star Wars fan, and we just felt shortchanged. And it's almost like we'd sat through 3 films to be shortchanged. But
If you weren't kissing him so much, you wouldn't have missed some of the key scenes, Mr. Brown.
No, I'm afraid, Mr. Brown, I can't have that. He's got a split second to make up his mind what happens. I agree. There's certainly bits that are clumsy. Don't get me wrong, but no, I don't think shortchanged. That's your opinion, but I'm going to disagree.
Well, good for you.
good for you. Right, okay.
Oh,
So I'm going to still give this 7 out of 10 because I would have loved to have seen the big space battle at the beginning, but there you go. Brian, marks.
Well, one thing I'm going to agree is 7 out of 10 because it has got an awful lot of problems, as much as I love it.
I just think they're all, for me, just all solid 7 out of 10. Just, yeah. But anyway, Reni?
8 out of 10, sir.
Wow, sir.
It's my favorite of the 3. I love it. 8 out of 10.
Ian?
5.
Guy's a miserable bugger tonight.
It's
He's right,
exactly
though.
what I think.
Yeah.
It's 5.
Yeah,
It's got
I
to
know,
be a
mate.
5.
You're absolutely spot on.
He's going to be into
Swappers?
the minor scores when we get to the Disney film.
Yeah.
I think I'm.
Yeah, I did mention earlier. This is an 8 for me. This one, even with its shortcomings and stuff, I think it's got a lot more going for it than against it. So I'm going to say 8.
Ooh. Before we get to you, Anthony, Cruel.
Wow.
10. Wow.
Oh,
It's okay if people like it, though, isn't it? I mean,
P-Wank.
it's fine.
6.
It's fine if they like it.
Raymond, 8.
Mm-hmm.
MC, 3. Oh, it says 3 was the best sequels. He's just arrived, apparently.
3 out of 10.
Wookie, 8. 6. Anthony.
Yeah,
Marks.
it's a 7 for me. Yeah. So the total so far, if you're interested, the Phantom Menace got a 41.
Yeah.
Attack of the Clones got 38, and Revenge of the Sith got 42. So it's Revenge of the Sith, Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones in that order so far.
Wow. I will say, looking at the timings on this, I don't think we're going to get to the last 3 films.
No, let's ditch him.
So what we'll do is,
darn.
what we will do is, we will do those maybe Christmas week with the special. Yes,
Yeah.
Are you trying to kill us during the holidays?
Let's
What the
ruin
hell?
Christmas altogether.
I
Yeah.
think Christmas
Brown
is ruined
ruins
anyway.
Christmas,
We're all
2021.
Shut up, Rennie.
Someone say
Fucking
ruin.
Jar Jar Brown.
Right. Okay. So on 1 hour 15, I need to press some buttons. Hopefully.
You said deep doo-doo brown.
Right. Okay. So
Kevin Smith. Why are we looking at Kevin Smith?
Is this an intermission? What are we doing?
So this has been going on this week, has it not? Ruin?
It most certainly has. We have
So-
wrapped up Shill Wars,
so-
and the
For the
result
boys
is
and
in.
girls, yeah. Just before you do those, for the boys and girls, can you just basically say what's on screen? Who was in the final? Who, and a little bit
Well,
of background about each of them.
I certainly can. Well, I'll take you right back to the semi-finals if I could, and just give you the build-up. So we had
Yep.
we had the first semi-final of I've got to scroll back through my Twitter for this. First semi-final was our very own Brian Young against Kevin Smith. Brian, well done for getting to the semi-final, but you were annihilated by Kevin Smith. 82% of votes
It was.
to Kevin Smith.
Fix.
Yeah, the second semi-final was Scott Mendelssohn and Atat Chat. I had Scott Mendelssohn to make it to the final, but Atat Chat rallied his troops and he won with a 66% of the vote. So that took us to the final. Before that, we had a third, fourth playoff. Brian, I was desperately trying to get you on the podium. I was trying to get you a medal, but Scott Mendelssohn beat you for the bronze medal place.
Right, okay, just bear with me. Just bear with me.
He's
Hold that thought.
Oh, look at this. Oh, it's slick, isn't it? Wow, there he is. You didn't.
That guy looks evil.
Could we have a little bit of background about Scott Mendelssohn then, Ruin? So
he looks evil.
Why has he been so good this year then?
Well, first of all, he's never featured in Shill Wars, which is unbelievable, a massive oversight maybe on my part. He's a critic for Forbes, and he fits the definition of shill in every way possible.
He looks cute.
He's wrote so many bad articles, just really horrible takes, kissing the arse of JJ and Ryan Johnson and Kathy. He's the definition of someone who writes articles to promote Disney for press privileges. And he did really well this year, yeah, bronze.
Sorry, Room, what was the percentage then for Scott v Brian again? I missed that.
Yeah, so Scott slayed Brian with 64% of the vote.
Right. Okay, so Scott Mendelssohn, bronze position. So, as we said, final was between the mighty Smith and my personal favourite, Atat Chat. So, you ran the final for 2 days, didn't you?
We did, yeah. We ran it for 2 days, and it wrapped up just within this live stream tonight.
So, shall I just press the button for the slide then, for the runner-up?
The big reveal, yeah. Let's do it.
Okay, so watch my graphics be wrong. So here we go. So in runner-up position, taking silver.
Drum roll.
Ta-da! Oh, well, I have to say, this is an incredible performance from Atat Chat. He came in as a wild card entry. And he,
so disappointing.
Yeah, he somehow made it through to the final, beating some incredible shills along the way. What he did, which obviously did well for him, is he retweeted it and he got his followers behind it, and he kind of encouraged them to vote for him instead of seeing his arse as a lot of them do. And
he embraced it, yes.
Yeah, he embraced it. He went with the spirit of it, and fair play to him. Now, this final, as of yesterday, Kevin Smith was absolutely annihilating them. It was something like 80% Kevin Smith. He got it down to just 10% in the end. So really good performance, but in the end, a silver medal.
I just I was really rallying support for Atat, and I don't know. I felt like his man babies didn't come through for him, and I think that's a disappointment for me that his man babies should have stepped up.
Yeah, he has a little army, doesn't he? So I'm surprised.
Yeah,
they
I think they let
Yeah.
the lad down personally on 1 hour
they
20.
did.
Right. Okay. So, Silver Place, Atat Chat came from nowhere. Did the business. Yes. Did
Yeah.
the business. Did the business. So, done himself proud. But as I said, I think the man babies should have stepped up, because I genuinely think the winner. I don't even think the stuff he's been shilling for is Star Wars. He's just been shilling his own shit. But there you go. Okay, so I will press some buttons. And the winner, gold position of Star Wars Shill Wars 2021 is Ruin. Who is it?
Well, it's our favourite man baby. It's Kevin Smith. He's
Yay!
he was probably a strong favourite
Well
going
done,
into
Kevin.
it. He, in fairness to him, he really has shilled up Disney Star Wars. These tears are the tears of a man who cried on the set of the Rise of Skywalker and told all the fans how beautiful and epic it is, and then we all were thoroughly let down when we watched it in the cinema. Yeah, he has been a big shill for Disney, but I think what really helped him is the absolute farce of Masters of the Universe and the destruction of that franchise. I know it's not Star Wars related, but
they killed He-Man twice.
He took the piss out of He-Man. So
twice.
Yeah, I think that's just put him in the forefront of everyone's minds, and probably a worthy winner in the end.
Citizen 333. Brian, can you do this one?
Citizen 333 in the chat says, in a critical drinker voice, fuck off, Smith.
Brian, do you want to maybe say a few words about Smith? We'll go through the panel. Maybe a few words. What do you think?
Thoroughly deserved. Thoroughly deserved for this year and even for the years before. But I really liked Kevin Smith back in the day. He's kind of low-grade films. I liked Jane Silent Bob, I'm afraid to say, and Clerks as well.
Yeah.
What has happened to him, I really do not know. But I have to say, thoroughly deserving of this award this year. I have to say that I thought Atat Chat was going to do a Denmark in Euro 92 by barely qualifying and going on to win it.
Yeah.
Credit,
nothing to lose. I know.
Credit, I have to say, to Atat Chat and his army, because without this, as we said maybe a couple of weeks ago, that Smith was winning this all the way, and he really took it right down to the wire. So thank you for all
thank
those,
you, Atat. Thank you.
Those fine gentlemen and ladies and non-binaries over at Atat Chat.
Reni?
Well, as you know, this is my my choice for winner, so I'm very excited to see that he made it.
Oh yes.
As a former Kevin Smith fan, and feeling burned by his recent actions, I feel like he's deserved. Yeah, but I feel like he deserved the Shill Award. So absolutely, I hope that Clerks 3 will prove me wrong about the way I feel about him, but I really don't think it's going to. Because I'm a huge Clerks fan. I love Jay and Silent Bob, but man, he really has done just total shit show these last few years.
Is it possible the fans of Clerks may teach him a lesson when it's released and not watch it?
No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think everybody's been dying for Clerks 3 to come out for the last 20 years. Almost I'd say the last 15 years we've been dying for Clerks 3. So I think a lot of people are going to watch it just because of the fact that it's finally happened. Okay. The hang up was Jeff Anderson not wanting to get back into the film industry. And so when he finally decided he would do it, that's when Smith filmed the movie. So I think it's just a long awaited movie, and people will go to see it.
In the chat, Jonathan Brent says it was his attacks on fans and critics that got him my vote.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
fair enough. I mean, he's been a total ass.
Yeah. Ian, Kevin Smith.
He's a twit.
Thoughts?
What can I say? He's a twit. What can I say? The guy's a git. That's all I can say. And the thing is, he's a total git, isn't he? Let's face it.
In other words, that rhyme with it. Yeah.
Yeah, he is. He's a complete git. Now, look, the reason why he did this, and I know a few people that they don't know him, but they work in the same area as him. He first started off. Look, let's start from the beginning. He wasn't getting finance for the stuff he wanted to do. He made a couple of films beyond what he's known for. Some of them are really good and some of them are really weird. The last film he made, was it Hosers, whether it was, flopped big
Yoga
time.
Hosers.
Yeah, so basically he was trying to find finance for his next film and nobody wanted to know him. And then the whole landscape changed with the box ticking stuff, and he was put out in the cold. And the only way he could actually achieve something or get people to notice him was to actually suck up to these people. And he did. He sucked up to CW big time, and they gave him a job directing 2 episodes of Supergirl, and he directed it. And he basically used that as a platform to actually move forward, because no one was hiring him, and he was scared that he was going to, not be able to feed his family. All he was doing was stuff on YouTube, and people know him for that. And then he did the ultimate asshole thing and destroyed He-Man just to get into the favors of the people in charge. And that's why I don't like him now. I will never go and see anything that he makes right now, because he is a coward, and also he's an idiot and a git of the highest order. So I will not be watching any of his stuff. I used to like him a lot. I used to really, really admire him, but now I just think he's a git. So there you go. That's me.
Wow.
And he deserves this number 1 prize.
That is not pulling any punches.
Why should I? He doesn't know me.
Yeah.
I will say, didn't Kevin Smith have a heart attack or?
Yes,
he
a couple
did,
years
but so
ago.
what? That doesn't excuse what he did.
Supposedly
to
changed his
He-Man.
outlook on life.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe his own.
Bullshit.
Yeah, maybe his own mortality kind of
Who
changed it.
cares? He still shouldn't have done that. He still shouldn't have done it.
I think
Right.
he did it
He-
to impress
he
his
is-
daughter. He is all
He's
about
a
his
nerd,
daughter.
and he is a geek just like us, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, but he still shouldn't have done it. He should have had more dignity. He should have kept pushing through. He's Kevin Smith. People respect him. Someone was gonna give him some money.
Bummed
You know
the
what I mean?
lot
But
of
he
us
didn't.
dry.
Yeah, basically, he turned himself into a git, and this is what happened. So,
Speaking
Sorry.
of gits, PCAT in the chat, that is the greatest commentary by Ian. Bravo. Bravo.
thank you.
Bravo.
Sure, Kevin Smith would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Swappers, I've not asked you, have I?
Not yet. No.
Go.
90s Kevin Smith would never have allowed this to happen.
Exactly.
When he had that heart attack a few years ago, that's when Kevin Smith died, and some other individual.
Oh.
Some other individual
Oh.
Jesus.
Oh.
not Kevin Smith anymore.
Matthew.
So, yeah, for sure.
Oh.
I don't know what you can call him. Jake Smith.
Fuck.
Maybe?
Jinx.
But, yeah,
The Force
that-
ghost of
that-
Kevin
that
Smith.
finished- That actually finished him off, as far as I'm concerned, and he's been replaced by a doppelganger. Because
You're not bitter, though, are you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, I don't really care either way, because I'm not a massive He-Man fan, but I still would have liked this series to have been done justice. And he's really shown his true colours over the course of the
Killed him
sequel,
twice.
the sequel tragedy and this shilling for this TV show now. He cannot be trusted with anything he makes anymore. This whole charade that he played over the last few years is all just to get a bit of extra money so he can make another Clark's movie or whatever. He's completely fake, and I'll just turn my back on him completely. I will never watch another one of his films. Like Mega Geek, I will not touch another single thing he's involved with. Just like Ruin Johnson, just like J.J. Abrams, there's so many. There's an ever increasing list. They're all gone to me. They're all gone. And the Kevin Smith I loved sadly passed away a few years ago when he had that heart attack. That's all I'm saying.
I will say with J.J. Abrams, we've said previously on this channel, haven't we, Ian, that when he started, his intention was to make Star Wars, wasn't it?
Yeah. And
But
he got infiltrated by KK, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony, a few comments. Do you want to do it as Anthony or do you want to do it as Ruin?
Oh, the line between the two is becoming increasingly blurred these days.
On 130, go on.
Yeah, no, everyone said it. I think the thing about Kevin Smith is we are all disappointed in him because we thought he was one of us. I think that's where it hits you in the guts. You know, we thought he was a geek like us. We thought he understood these franchises like us. We trusted him when he cried on set and told us Star Wars is going to be fantastic, and then it was an absolute dog shit. And we trusted him to do a good job on He-Man, and I was a fan of He-Man when I was a kid. My best mate was one of the biggest fans of He-Man, and he's just desecrated it. So
killed him twice.
Yeah, as harsh as Matt's words are, there's probably some truth in that. I think he's
harsh but fair.
Can't be trusted with anything else. That's that.
It's true. I mean, PCAT pulled up something. I remember I'm listening to his review on Batman versus Superman. I could not believe what he was saying, and I thought, to myself, Kevin, you like this film because the film is definitely logic free. It doesn't have any logic whatsoever. Batman and Superman. It's just stupid, and yet this guy was talking about it like it deserved an Oscar, and that was the first inkling of Jesus. What's this guy on? And then the rest is history. So PCAT brought up a good thing. So I remember that review from him, and I was like, "This can't be right."
I will just say, if I may, speaking of Batman v Superman, that was on ITV4 tonight or ITV2, and my father was watching it, and he's 93, and he never watches anything like that, and he was sat there watching it. Couldn't believe it. Moving on.
Perhaps he was asleep.
Better.
No, he was awake. Don't worry, he was awake
with his eyes open. He was asleep because people do sleep with their eyes open.
Yes, agreed with MC. Absolutely.
I said the Batman v Superman extended version.
Not by much, though. Not by much.
But I will
still
tell
doesn't
you
make
guys,
any sense.
I think the reason that he shilled for that movie is because he's friends with Ben Affleck, and since Ben Affleck's Batman, he was like all gung ho about supporting his friend. Which, hey, I get it, but don't like bullshit us. You know?
I think that might have something to do with it. But I also think he was desperate to get into the fold of what was happening in Hollywood, and it's the same thing. Roundhead Ruin as well. Roundhead Ruin, right? He was a totally all right director before all this crap happened. And the tide changed, and you either stand up to it like Gina
Carano.
Yeah. Or
Carano.
You do what Kevin Smith done, and you do what Roundhead Ryan did. So, and people chose. Or you can stay in the middle. Most people stayed in the middle and scared to speak out. So, do you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just really
some of the signs that he might go that way happened way back. If you remember Kevin Smith defending some of the horrible changes that Lucas made to the OT.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I really had huge respect for this man. I love Chasing Amy. I watched all the behind the scenes stuff with him, with Clerks and stuff, and I really loved it. I actually sent him a Twitter message at one point, and he responded and he said, "Thank you very much," because I just literally saw the making of, and I said, "Man, you went through shit making that film, and it turned out really well. Congratulations!" And he tweeted me back saying, "Thank you very much. I really appreciate it, blah blah
now
blah."
You would go, "Man, you talk shit."
Time for another tweet, Ian.
Yeah, I just go,
"You talk shit."
No, look, you know what? I am harsh, but you know what? As I said, I agree with Matt. The Kevin Smith I know doesn't exist anymore. I don't know who this guy is. Seriously, I don't.
You are dead to me.
Anyway.
MC in the chat, the warehouse scene in BVS is amazing. And yes, it is amazing.
Batman, when he beats up all those guys, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. Best thing about the film.
Yeah.
Apart from Gal Gadot's
the
legs.
End. No.
Apart from
Martha!
Martha!
Yeah. So to summarize then, boys and girls, there was only one winner this year, wasn't there, really?
There can only be one.
He was the man to beat. That's right. Yeah.
At chats, we saw you.
We had two debutants take the silver and bronze positions. So
superb.
Yeah, that was fun. I've got one little question I want to throw out to the group to round this off, if we could, Brownie.
You're going to.
I know. I don't know why I asked. I'm just being polite. I've got this primed and ready to go as a Twitter poll, but I want to run it by all you while I've got you in here now. If there was a movie being made of your life story and you had to have one of these three direct it, who would you choose? Kevin Smith, J.J. Abrams, or Rian Johnson?
Oh, I think I would choose Kevin Smith, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Because I know he is capable of making a great movie. He is capable.
I'll throw that to the chat as well. Who are the options? It's JJ, Smith,
Roundhead,
Smith,
and Ryan. So,
my good self, Rian Johnson.
People in the chat, if your life was going to be made into a movie, the director, who would you choose for the director? JJ, Smith, or the Roundhead? That's for the chat.
Well, that can't work for me. They're all white people. Come on. What do that mean? You know what I mean?
They'll turn you into a female anyway, Mega Geek.
Yeah, probably.
See, I agree, mate. Because I would choose JJ. You'd get a massive budget.
Too.
Yeah,
I would too. Actually, I would choose him because I know JJ had the best intentions for Star Wars, and he got sabotaged.
He got bummed.
Because if you look at the third installment of A Mission Impossible, if it wasn't for that third installment, there's no way Tom Cruise would have carried on with that storyline, because the storyline started from the third one that JJ did. So do you know what I mean? So JJ has got talent, but he's just hung out with the wrong people. That's what he got.
It was Kennedy bummed it all. Simple.
Yeah, I reckon so.
I genuinely think that JJ would have done all three films. But there you go.
I mean, look at Fringe. He's responsible for Fringe, and that's a great TV show.
Yeah, but look at what he did to Lost.
Yeah, well, Lost was rubbish, right? But you know, he's done some great TV shows, and he's done some great movies. It was only when he did Star Wars that's when he fell from grace, in my opinion. But you know,
yeah. MC says JJ MI3 amazing. Yeah,
I thought it was, apart from the ending.
So who's next? Swap Shop. Who would you have your life directed by?
I'll probably say
Smith.
I'd say Smith circa 1990s, yeah. But if it was present day with all three of them, then it'd have to be J.J. Abrams, like Mega Geek. He might have ended up dropping the ball with Star Wars, but he did want to make a good film, and he did want to do something for the fans. Although he was, like he said, he was sabotaged. He was sabotaged by Kennedy.
He was sabotaged, yes.
And the following film, sabotaged by the following film as well. So it was the wokeness of Lucasfilm and Disney that ruined his memory or his legacy, really, to do with Star Wars. So I'd have to say,
well done, Jonathan.
Yeah, I'd have to say Abrams.
Yeah.
Brian?
I'm going to have to go for JJ. Because I think if JJ does it, he's not a bad director, but if JJ does it, someone else will probably write the film.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want Kevin Smith or fucking Rian Johnson anywhere near it.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams can't finish anything anyway, so it'll have to be someone else writing it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but Kevin Smith will kill you off if he directed your life story, Brian. Wouldn't he? In the first
times,
scene,
though.
kill you off.
Three
Yeah,
times.
R.I.P. Brian Young.
yeah. And you know, and if JJ directed Reni's life story, she'd be killed by a bag of dicks. So.
Yeah, pretty much. At the quick stop.
Yeah.
Go on then, Reni.
I already chose Kevin Smith.
Oh, did you?
He's honestly capable of making a good personal type movie. When you look at Clerks, his very first movie, and what he did, showing how much it sucks to work in customer service. If anybody's ever worked in customer service, you know that movie is spot on. People are assholes. And you get to see two different opinions or two different views on the whole subject. But yes, he's really good at directing the personal experience. It's just he's lost his roots. But I think he's capable of still making a good movie. It's just, will he? I don't know.
Ah, dear.
Yes. Who hasn't given an answer yet? I'm old. I can't remember. Is that everybody?
Yourself.
Me?
I think it's everyone. Oh, Rune. You don't count. You'd pick yourself.
Well, in all seriousness, and this is Anthony talking, in all seriousness, I would pick Ryan Johnson.
Oh.
Wait for it. Solely because I'd love to see how he handles the last 4 years of me being a Ryan Johnson parody.
You know what?
That could break the Matrix.
He'll have you die off 4 years early. Just be like,
Yeah.
R.I.P.
He'd probably change it, wouldn't he? He'd probably change your life. And change it to not ruin Johnson, but ruin JJ. You probably, get
Ruin
you imitating JJ rather than him. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And you'd look like Jar Jar Binks or some shit, or you'd have boobies like that. Whatever that thing was in The Last Jedi.
Green titty milk.
I hate to think.
Has anybody seen the drinkers thing on it? The drinkers last video.
Yeah,
Literally diving into what happened with all that stuff, and he's spot on. Absolutely,
you know what?
Spot on, that guy.
You know what? Right. One of the ideas for my a show I was going to do, trying actually to get the drinker on, was to do a show about how our heroes are being kind of killed off, like he said on the video, and it's like that was my idea.
Oh,
and he beat me to it.
Don't start.
So it just shows that people are noticing this stuff. If a knobhead like me notices what's going on, it's just not good for entertainment.
Oh, I don't think that's true. He did other videos similar to that as well. So I don't think it's you put that idea in his head.
I didn't say that. I just. I was going to try and do a show before Christmas, basically bracing the same subjects.
You still can.
Yeah, because I've noticed it, and obviously
everyone's noticed it.
Yeah, and I think it's just kind of, for me, Bond was the last straw.
Don't even talk to me about Bond. Fucking hell.
I gave up on it a couple years ago.
That was the last straw for me. That's when everything just kind of realized that's when everything kind of clicked into to place that they really just don't give a flying fuck.
But how? Okay, so I don't understand why you guys are surprised by that. They reported on this like a year or two ago that this was going to happen. Like,
no, not because he died. No,
it's not a surprise. But we knew that the female was going to take the lead. There were rumors of that.
No, she didn't. She didn't.
There's nothing to do with that.
Have you seen the film? Have you seen the film, Reni?
No. And I'm not interested in seeing it.
So the female does not take the lead in this film.
She does not.
All. No, that's not true. What me and Ian is upset about is the way they treated Bond at the ending. That's what we're upset about. And now it seems we can't have heroes on screen that we like.
But you knew they were going to disrespect him, and it's sad but true.
Well, it's not that they disrespect him; they killed him.
Well, yeah,
so
but it's still like they disrespected his character and then killed him off.
I think part of the problem, this is a big problem, it's how they treated us as fans.
Exactly.
50 years I've been invested in James Bond.
Well, and they can always use the excuse.
50 years. I remember watching James Bond sat on the fucking potty gurgling.
You can remember that far back?
Damn.
I
Yeah.
can't even remember what happened yesterday. Let
I
alone
think it
sitting
was
on the potty.
Live and Let Die.
I live and let
Well,
die.
They said
Rose.
something a few years back where they've pretty much used up all the titles of the books, so don't be expecting James Bond to go on forever.
That's
It was still shitty that they did whatever they did, but I
on
just
145.
had
Yeah.
a feeling that it was going to happen this way, and I hate it.
The annoying thing is they had time to change it,
They did, and
They did
it's like they
change
made
it,
it
yeah.
worse.
and they probably would have changed a few things. But you know what? I think I would have preferred the woke shit to what they actually did to him in the end. And see, I'm getting riled up now.
Wild.
I
Triggered.
watched I watched Casino Royale at the cinema about 4 times.
Mhm.
Quantum of Solace probably about 5 times. I think Quantum of Solace is the editing that spoiled that one. Skyfall, I probably watched it about 7 times at the cinema. Spectre, I think it's underrated. Probably watched it. Probably watched it 5 times at the cinema, 6 times. If those films are on TV, I will stop and watch them.
Mhm.
This is the only James, and I've been looking forward to this James Bond film. And this is the only James Bond film that I'm not interested in watching again. Purely because they're proving a point.
Yeah.
And their point is costing them my ticket sales. And if I've watched it once and I'm not going to watch it another 4 or 5 times, how many more people are going to be like me? So if they've covered their production costs, considering obviously we've got Coof and all that stuff, just think if they'd have actually made a film that we felt satisfied with, and they had time to change it, they could have probably made a handsome profit, and they just fucked the lot of us, and they can go off.
Yeah, but the thing
rant.
is, though, the worst thing about the latest James Bond film is the script. It's awful. It doesn't even make
It's loose.
sense.
It's loose.
No, logically, it doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense, right? All right, let's go to Moonraker. Moonraker was very silly, but at least logically, it all made sense. We know why Bond did this, we know why Bond did that. But in this film, I swear to you, some of the characters do things that does not make any sense. I give you one example, right? Saffron, who's the main villain, right, has hold of James Bond's daughter. Yes, he has a daughter. Spoiler given, right? He kidnaps the daughter, about to leave the island. But what does he do? Because the daughter bites him, he lets her go. He doesn't chase her. He just goes, well, if you don't want to be with me, go. And she goes. Right? Makes no sense. Why would he do that after spending all that time to anyway? And then there's another bit in the beginning, right, where the same character, right, is dead on revenge. He kills so-and-so's mother. Girl runs out into the ice. He's got a chance to kill her, and he doesn't. Still doesn't make any sense. And that's just 2 out of a whole boat.
The thing is,
stuff that doesn't make any sense.
The thing is, I think the people who wrote the film, or who scripted it or put it together, I think they thought they were actually being very, very clever.
Yeah, and they weren't.
And it was just, why couldn't they zap the nanobots with an EMP? Like the guy's eye just literally just exploded in his head, and yet the nanobots, they're fine. How does that work?
So there's a scene in it where the main villain is, in the beginning he's killing everyone, and which the beginning credits is 20 minutes long. Would you believe? The longest opening credits sequence ever in a James Bond film. That was dull as ditchwater as far as I was concerned. And then suddenly he's this billionaire that owns an island, and he tries to kill James Bond, and he decides to leave the island. And then at the ending, he's still there. The film makes no sense. Absolutely what happened to that character makes no sense whatsoever. It's just so irritating. And then to put the icing on the cake, they kill James Bond at the end, and you're like, what was the point?
I left the cinema broken. I was processing what had gone on. I was processing what had gone on, and I think I was numb.
Oh man.
Anyway,
we're not allowed to have fun anymore in films, guys. We have to deal with this shite.
I will say, I know the Critical Drinker is an up-and-coming channel. If you check his video out about all this, help the guy out, get him a few subs.
Makes sense.
He seems to know what he's doing. So that's, just in case everybody's not heard him, that's the Critical Drinker. I think he's from Scotland, from somewhere.
He's got enough subs. Don't even sub. He's got enough. He doesn't need.
Yeah, in fact, if you're already sub, can you unsub from Critical?
Yeah, exactly.
Unsub him. Yeah. Okay. So
he's on his way to 1 million, man.
Exactly.
He is. Well done,
Brown. Can I have a quick one on Bond? Because I've actually just.
I think you're going to.
I'm doing it anyway. Man. I illegally streamed it and watched it just
you're off for that.
A day or two ago.
Pirate!
I heard all the bad stuff. I'm not the biggest Bond fan anyway, but I heard all the bad stuff, so I thought I'm not paying for this garbage, but I'm going to watch it. I don't know if anyone's made this point, but did you all get the blatant rip off with the little rabbit doll from Nicolas Cage and Con Air?
Yes.
Did anyone pick up on that?
Yes. And they ripped off the scene from Three Eyes Only as well with the car, because that scene where he kills Ferrara in Three Eyes Only, and they ripped it off with the other guy when he pushes the car, and they ripped off loads of things from loads of different films.
The doll one was clever. It was done nowhere near as good as Nicolas Cage. It was meant to build this kind of emotional attachment, but yeah, that was the one I thought, oh no, you just run out of ideas now, and this isn't Bond. So the biggest laugh I had was the black female 007. Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't have a problem with any of that. Jonathan Bent's, that's such a shitty feeling, walking out just empty and unsatisfied. I didn't feel unsatisfied. I just felt shocked, numb. I just felt numb.
The film just sucks. I'm sorry. It sucks. You know what? He goes to what's her name's grave in the beginning, and the huge bomb explodes. It blows him off his feet, and he's got no damage on him whatsoever. Then again, he's Bond, yeah, apart from his hearing. He gets up, and I'm like, he's still alive. It's like what is it? What's that one? The one I really hate, Skyfall. I hated so much. He gets shot on top of a train and he falls thousands of miles into the water, and then after the opening credits, he's still alive. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah,
the guy's still alive.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Brown, if you hadn't have been kissing your manager throughout the whole damn film, you might have followed the plot, man.
Anyway. Sorry, boys and girls, we got sidetracked from Star Wars, but I truly, as I said, I like Star Wars. I didn't kind of realize what was going on in The Last Jedi, but my Last Jedi moment was literally the last 5 minutes of James Bond. So I know how bad you guys feel. So apologies for the sidetrack. I think we're running horrendously late. We're going to finish on 2 hours or near about. We will come back and do the other 6 films another time. So, Matthew, are you okay to do a little bit of fan fiction?
I can read out a couple of pages from the story. Yeah,
just a little bit of an update of how you're getting on, and then we'll just kind of bail out after that, if that's okay.
Yeah, no problem. So if people don't mind me doing stupid accents and character voices,
what we like, yes,
American accent,
I shall proceed. I will try my best, but I'll probably fail because I'm not psyched.
You will be beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I've here. is I just randomly picked it. I don't know where it's going to. I can't even remember where it's going to go, but hopefully it'll be quite interesting for everyone. Just to give everyone a bit of an idea what's going on. Luke, Rey, and Finn are in a city on this big space station, and they're looking for something. And they've got R2D2 and C3PO with them, and Luke's kind of on a mission to buy a few things. He's got to buy some special uniforms to disguise them with, and things like that. So on the way, he sees somewhere that he can take Rey to sort of help her meditate on something, and that's where this little segment starts off. So I'll just start from there and carry on. So I can't remember. I haven't read this bit in ages, so it might be all over the place. The writing might be terrible. I don't know, but I'm just going to do it anyway. So bear with me. All right. So Luke stepped into the shady interior of the salon and slid back his hood. That's fine. Only me and my daughter here are in need of your service, he said, showing his long weathered hair, confident the oblivious customers wouldn't recognize him. Daughter? Rey thought, wondering why he chose that word. We don't need any awkward questions. Best to have a cover story, Luke whispered to her. Still confused, she glanced back to Finn, wishing for the emotional support of his presence. Coming? She asked. Oh, I think I'm good, he stuttered, raising his helmet to tap the metal brace at the side of his head. But you guys go ahead. I'll hang out with them for a while, he said, thumbing across to C-3PO and R2-D2. Gotta be a place like this for droids somewhere nearby, right, guys? Luke waved to the others waiting outside. It's all right. You go ahead. But stay in the arcade, okay? Unsure how to react, C-3PO looked to R2 for a prompt. What do you think, R2? I'm far from accustomed to having such leisure time. R2 didn't waste a moment. Extending his third foot, he turned to speed away further into the gallery. Just remember where we are, Luke called to Finn. And 3PO, keep an eye on the credits. R2-D2, slow down this instant, mithered C-3PO, shuffling after him. Master Luke gave us strict instructions to... Who are you calling obsolete, you overcharged bin of smoldering circuits? I guess R2 knows where he's going, replied Finn. Just stay out of trouble, ordered Luke. Don't worry, said Finn. I'll make sure they don't go too far. The droid has a nose for upgrades and a will of his own, Luke said, shaking his head in bemusement. Finn called to the droids as he jogged up to catch them. 3PO, R2, hey! Yes, sir, said 3PO, turning back. Either of you guys know what's going on with them? Finn asked, thumbing back to the salon. Master Luke and Rey? We never tried to understand the matters of the Jedi or the Force, sir, humbly replied the other. The supernatural is far above the humble programmings of mere mechanoids, and we believe the Maker would have it no other way. Whistling notes of sarcasm, R2 sounded doubtful. Oh, yes, of course. I forgot you're special, R2, answered C-3PO sarcastically. You accompanied Master Luke to his academy. I suppose that makes you a qualified expert on thousands of years of Jedi history. Trying to avoid unnecessary attention, Finn quietly interrupted. Guys, I'm talking about as people. You've both known them for longer than anyone, right? Well, he acts like he knows her, but didn't they only meet a few days ago? Neither of us have any recollection of Rey or yourself before the arrival of the fleet, sir, replied C-3PO. Right, but I think he knows more about him than he's letting on, said Finn. I mean, she can use the Force. And didn't he call her his daughter? Something tells me there's way more to this. You're Luke's droids, right? You're telling me he never mentioned her before? What's the big secret? As far as I'm aware, Master Luke never became a parent, said C-3PO. Unless, of course, I received a complete memory wipe. This whole thing is weird, continued Finn. Then we got Luke just showing up after being a ghost for 10 years. All we know, sir, is he left the Resistance in search of a mythical Jedi temple. His priority was to locate some kind of cure. To what, I couldn't possibly say, replied C-3PO innocently. It is indeed true that he only recently returned from such a long absence. Look, everyone's heard rumors of what happened, how his students all mysteriously died in one night. No one really knows how, said Finn. Half the galaxy seems to think he did it. Hell, even in the Order, it's drummed into everyone that he's public enemy number one. Oh, Master Luke would never do such a thing, sir, replied the droid. You can be assured of that. No disrespect meant to yourself, of course, but who can ever believe a regime such as the First Order? You got that right, said Finn. So what did happen back then? I can't see Luke as a bad guy, but he's got to be hiding something. It's part of my programming not to inquire on confidential matters, so my knowledge only comes from R2, I'm afraid, said C-3PO. He may be a stubborn cart of scrap at times, but he has never been less than accurate with his data. He was with Master Luke when it all happened. After all, isn't that right, R2? Leaning towards his counterpart, C-3PO examined the rolling astromech. Without even a twitch of his dome, R2 continued on as if he wasn't listening. Well, R2, C-3PO pressed the astromech further, but the droid just ignored him. The students, what happened to them all? Finn asked. A terrible state of affairs, sir, C-3PO said. Not a story Master Luke would care to divulge. Finn pried the droid further. Well, he's not here now, 3PO. You can tell me. C-3PO straightened up, his head fidgeting side to side. Well, I suppose it's nothing, Master. Just tell me, 3PO. This is important, Finn urged. Oh, very well. It happened over 10 standard years ago. 13 to be precise. The other replied. The Praxium Master Luke had constructed on the world of Upavon was attacked, decimated, in fact, and the many Force-sensitive children entrusted in his care along with it. By who? Who attacked? Finn asked. That much is unclear, said C-3PO. R2 describes it as some kind of unknown technology, but Master Luke determined it as an act of Kylo Ren, or more precisely his master, the one you know as Snoke. Other than Master Luke and R2 here, of course, there were no reported survivors, but that's all R2 recalls. Such a grave calamity. But how did Luke survive? Finn asked. As I understand, the destruction buried him beneath a collapsed dwelling, and if it weren't for R2, he may have remained trapped there. But the dramatic aftermath was clear once he eventually emerged, the settlement ablaze, and his students assassinated. Understandably, the only option he had was to flee. Escape before he could be hunted down. I'm afraid that's all I know, sir. And that's mostly second-hand data passed on to me. So nothing about Rey? Finn asked, expecting more. Regrettably, I would appear you know more than I do, or R2, about her, sir, C-3PO confessed. R2-D2 whined a response. Well, I did say it was unpleasant before I began, R2, C-3PO replied. And somewhat downbeat is hardly the term I would use. Finn nodded at the determined astromech. Does he know where he's going? He asked. Unwavering from his course, R2 bleeped a short reply. He says according to a sign we passed earlier, there's a cybernetics mark up ahead. I believe he's looking for a specific multi-tooled upgrade that Resistance can't supply. He's very particular like that. If his central processor is set on something, he can be very persistent. Once he got us marooned on a ghastly desert planet on some headblamed top-secret mission. I hear that, Finn replied, as C-3PO continued to chat incessantly on the subject. They moved along the boulevard following R2. On their left, they neared an amber-skinned alien who stood handing out printed hololeaflets to passers-by. The figure turned to address Finn. How about you, sir? He said. Please take one. For Aberfar. For a free galaxy. Keep the First Order propaganda out of Knights Islakis. Keep the Parafrax out of First Order hands. Finn took the flyer in confusion. How can the Order be stopped? He asked, knowing too well the unstoppable power they commanded. The Administrator will not submit to pressure, political or military, came the reply. It's our duty to support him. The Parafrax must remain free. Finn curtly nodded and backed away, rejoining the droids along their route. Deciding to read its details later, Finn folded the flyer and stored it in a pocket, now wondering how safe from the First Order they truly were in this place. 2 attendee droids led Luke and Rey into the studio, ushering to seats with a view of the arcade outside. Would these seats suffice, madam? One asked calmly. You have something a little more private? Asked Luke amiably. Of course, our mission is tranquility and relaxation for all clientele. Right this way, sir, it replied. May I take your cloaks and your hold? No, I'll keep this with me, if I may, Luke said vehemently. The droid bowed compliantly. At sir's preference, it said. their cloak and poncho draped over one arm, it showed them to a side room at the very back of the studio. Luke and Ray stepped into an area which looked much older than the rest of the establishment. This room is normally used for physical therapies, said the droid, but on the occasion we do open up this area as an overflow. Please choose a seat and recline at your leisure. Master Chico will be with you shortly. May I fetch any refreshments? You have a selection? Asked Luke. Ray just listened, having never experienced being waited on. And I could carry on, but it probably will go on for ages, so I'll finish it there, I think.
Well done, my friend.
Bravo.
That was really good, Matt.
Well done, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
I just
Nice one, Matt.
I just said in the chat, takes balls doing what Swaps is doing. So well done, Matthew.
Thanks. Do appreciate it. You get really nervous doing stuff like that, so it's it's not easy doing it. But there's a really funny bit coming up after that when they find this droid mart, and I was hoping to get to it, but I'll leave it for now because I will go on for ages.
So I will just say what we're going to do, boys and girls. I think we're going to end it there because I naively thought we could do 9 Star Wars films. How wrong I was. So I think 2 hours is a pretty good time to bail. And what we will do is we will come back at another point to do the rest of the Star Wars films. So I will thank the chat. So chat, you are wonderful, as I always say each week. We are nothing without the chat. Few new faces in there. Really good to get the interaction, guys. It will be it'd be different, us 6 just here on our own. So cheers, guys. If you've not already, please like, share, subscribe, all the usual stuff. I will thank the guests. Not Brian Young, thank you.
Thank you, and thanks to Reni, Ian, Anthony, Matt. Superb stuff again, mate. Thanks to the chat for some great stuff and great input, and to yourself, Mr. Brown, for the invite. It's been a lot of fun tonight. Cheers.
Cheers, Brian. The wonderful Reni.
Thank you, as always, Mr. Brown. Always an honor to be here and, to speak with you, Brian, Matt, and Ian. And, of course, Anthony, it's always fun when you're here. So thank you, guys. And thank you, chat.
Mega Geek, thank you. Cheers, Ian.
No worries. Thanks, everybody. Love you all. There you
I
go.
can't quit you, Ian.
I can't quit you.
A big brass balls thank you to Swap Shop. Cheers, pal.
Thank you. I will now go and have a cup of chamomile tea and calm down a little bit. And thanks to Mr. Brown. Love the show as always. Thanks for the invite. Love being on the show. Thanks to Brian. Wouldn't be the same without Mia. Reni, always amazing to have her on. Yeah. And when she's not on, wow, do you miss her when she's not here and miss her voice? Yep. Ian, thanks, mate. It's I was a bit gutted that you might not show up earlier, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah, we were worried.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. We need your insight. Always, every week.
Yeah.
And of course to Anthony as well, not Ryan this time. Anthony, absolute pleasure to have you here.
First.
I
don't think Anthony should be here. He's too handsome. Don't be on that stream, mate.
Makes us all look bad, It's a pleasure having you on, mate. And it's just brilliantly funny whenever you are, no matter who you're playing. But thanks for the chat as well. You're always great. So good night, everybody.
I will just say to everybody in the chat, please share the stream. Tell your friends about us, because I genuinely don't think this stream is all that bad, considering some of the stuff I've seen on YouTube. I just think we're so in a corner somewhere in YouTube that nobody's picking up on us. So please share the stream, boys and girls. So that's your homework for the week. So I will just thank the main man himself 10 times on the channel. Is it Anthony or is it Ruin? They're just merging into one. Who knows?
I often ask myself, Brownie.
All we know is he's a handsome devil. Cheers, Anthony.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you to all the fellow guests. And I have to say, Swappers, that reading, it had great characters, great plots, excellent story writing, brilliant world building, and I couldn't relate to any of it. So there we go. But dropping the ruin thing, I've enjoyed just being me tonight. I've enjoyed actually just talking Star Wars and you know, proper Star Wars, the Lucas stuff. So I've really enjoyed it. I had great fun, and yeah. Always a good time.
Yeah. As I said off air, there will be a few little Star Wars tidbits in December, and I'm sure that Anthony or Ruin will be coming back for that. So some more Star Wars to come. So on 2 hours 10, shall we just say bye-bye then? So everybody in the chat, thank you. See you soon. Take care. Don't forget to wear your mask.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye, man, babies.